Find out why hundreds of people are lined up outside of this hotel ballroom.
Later, we'll discuss this CBS News correspondent and his unusual rise to the top.
And find how a couple found love on a Detroit island. Stay tuned. Good evening. I'm Chancellor Johnson.
And I'm Noelle Lilly. Today is August 3rd.
And you're watching NABJ News. Thank you for joining us tonight. The NABJ Board of Directors made an important decision this morning at the annual business meeting.
NABJ's David Chile joins us now with the details.
That's right. The NABJ executives will stick with the decision to have a runoff election for the media-related representative position. They first announced this move on Tuesday. This came after Hania Sharp-Brown received votes even though she withdrew from the ballot. The election takes place in 2 weeks. The board also discussed NABJ's finances. They stressed having to, quote, spend money to make money. Treasurer Greg Morrison says there's a good purpose for this philosophy.
We are at a point where, yes, you're going to spend a few dollars to get things done, but what are you getting in return? Look at our surplus. Look at where our stock portfolio is now compared to what it was when we started in 2015. We are so much more ahead.
Chance, Noel, back to you.
If you ask any true news veteran, they might tell you that being in front of the camera is far from the only noteworthy position in the newsroom.
That's right. On Thursday morning, being a media boss was the focus of a panel about building the next generation of newsroom leaders. Attendees heard from media pros on how to break into newsroom management positions. One manager from CNN said it's important to speak up.
Be a voice, be passionate. If there's a story that you believe that needs to be covered, go to your manager, talk to them about the story, and also gain their trust. Because when it's time for them to think about who they're going to promote and who could be the next leader, they're going to remember the people who were the passionate ones, the people who showed initiative.
A longtime NABJ member has the organization to thank for some of her success as a media boss. NABJ reporter Imani Patterson joins us here in the studio to share her story.
This is a story that is inspiring, whether you're starting your career or trying to move up to a better position.
Mara Wilson has been with CNN for more than 20 years. She is no stranger to the media world. Wilson went from an entry-level job to being a creative producer and manager.
So I started at CNN as a VJ. That's the entry-level job at our company. And I worked my way up in CNN, which is CNN International first. So I was a PA, and then I got promoted to an associate producer. And then we had a new division called Special Projects.
Wilson shared this photo with NABJ showing some of the equipment she uses at work every day. These same work tools helped her climb the corporate ladder.
So I put myself in that role to actually start managing and suggesting things, and because I knew I kind of wanted to be either a creative director or production manager.
Wilson is always looking for new, fresh ways to increase her value and worth at work.
And so I would keep training myself and finding new ways to produce and tell my stories, finding new publications to also pitch stories. So that's what I made my job and keep making my job a challenge. And I also try to find new ways and new things to actually bring to the company.
Tamara Wilson told me she actually watched tutorials on the web to help sharpen her own skills. Back to you.
So many students come here with a number of goals in mind, to network and get a job or a few.
I know that was definitely one of my goals. Suri Hoffman joins us. Suri, this was your first convention, right?
No, it actually was. And today we caught up with the pros who had some very helpful advice on how to break into the business.
What kind of work do you do? Are you a clear writer? Are your leads engaging?
Those are the questions Maria Reeves asks when she looks for interns. She's an editor at the Star Tribune.
Work on student publications, that's fine. I like to see what you can do in a professional environment.
She wants NABJ students to know just how crucial internships are. It's an experience that cannot be found anywhere else.
And I'm looking to make sure that when you come to us, this experience isn't going to be frustrating for you and for us.
And landing an internship often leads to a career.
Harry Harrison works as an investigative reporter in Philadelphia. He stresses the importance of trusting the process.
How do you want to go out?
He says it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them. Rushing to larger markets is not the way you grow.
One, I believe that when you're in a smaller market, give yourself the time to breathe and to develop your skills so that you come out on top, being the journalist that you should be, providing the community with the information that it needs and should have and that you can bring to them.
And today, many panelists touched on this topic, so hopefully NABJ students will be able to better navigate through this job-seeking process.
Thanks, Suri.
The NABJ Convention is a great place to sharpen your skills and improve on your portfolio. I had a chance to visit a very important workshop that gave convention goers some helpful hints. During the Turner Sports Resume and Reel workshop, professionals gave critiques to convention goers looking to land their next job.
It's very important because you need some honest feedback. I do feel like a lot of times we go into things and we just don't know what's going on. So this gives you an opportunity to work with professionals who've been in the game.
The instructors combed through people's portfolios and gave each journalist sound advice.
Really, really helpful because there's professors that can give you tips, there's mentors that can give you tips, but if there's someone in a position that you want and they're giving you the tips, it's perfect.
Students aren't the only ones benefiting. Even some of the top professionals are taking something away from this event.
It's always good to just see faces, to see people that are doing the same thing you're doing, grinding the same way you are, have the same struggles, have the same, issues.
Aldridge also has advice that could help you succeed in the business.
The more important thing, I think, is just to meet people who are in the business, understand there's a whole lot of different paths to it. There's no one way, there's no right way, there's your way. Everybody's way is different.
Aldridge believes building up your network of business contacts will also help you with your job references.
Still to come, feel like you may want to get away from all of the conference chaos? Up next, we'll tell you about the perfect little hideaway.
And later, find out how a Detroit couple uses vacant lots for bee farms in the Motor City.
They're a great team.
Jason, Tati.
Jason is an outgoing person.
They can't all be gems.
Tati, she's funny and knows her stuff.
You can just go to them 10 o'clock every morning and they'll tell you what's going on in Detroit.
My day would not be the same if I didn't have Live in the D. I love it.
Yes, please. Because I can plan where we want to go and what we want to do.
That mac and cheese is off the chain.
Hey, I like it.
Live in the D on Local 4.
3 missing boys may be in extreme danger.
Frantic search in the town of Morenci.
The FBI now getting involved.
I truly believe he's done something with them boys.
And I wonder, are they scared? Are they crying for me?
Turned up across the state line in an Ohio hospital after attempting to hang himself.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know where my kids are.
Shattered Black Friday. Subscribe today on shatteredpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcast.
Those in the Muslim community say they feel underrepresented by the media.
Today, a panel was held to discuss some of those issues. Our Imani Patterson was there. And Imani, what do they think needs to be changed?
They say a lot needs to happen to make some progress. Those in attendance questioned whether the media is doing their best to cover minority communities. It was said the fear of Islamophobia is an even bigger reason for biases to be shown against them. Dozens came together from all different backgrounds to discuss constitutional rights, as well as faults in media coverage. Many felt as though the terminology used in regards to the Muslim community is not always accurate. We spoke with a panelist who says it's not only a Muslim issue.
It's about all the groups that are sort of now feeling like they're in the crosshairs because of policies that are coming down that are hostile to their communities and interests.
Panelists agreed that a lot has to be done, but to start, newsrooms need to hire more minorities in their communities.
The water crisis in Flint, Michigan is far from over, even 4 years later.
NABJ reporter Sydney Clark joins us live here in the studio to tell us more. Sydney?
NABJ conference goers got the chance to learn about the ongoing water troubles in Flint. On Wednesday, a federal judge dismissed Governor Rick Snyder and the state of Michigan as defendants in a serious class action lawsuit.
That mayor that we have, that's the only person I trust.
People who live in Flint don't trust the water either. Many people are using cases of bottled water to bathe, drink, and cook. Flint community activist Isaiah Oliver served on the NABJ panel about this heated issue. Oliver wants health officials to address the long-term health and development of people in his city right away.
Not only of our kids, but our most vulnerable populations, our seniors. And how do we ensure lead that's trapped in your tissues, in your bones, that's going to leach out whenever your body needs calcium, isn't going to impact your body negatively.
Flint resident Aaron Coney wants people to know about the real current state of the city and its water supply.
I was actually at a conference just a couple weeks ago called the Links Incorporated conference, where they were asking about Flint. They were like, what? I didn't know that was still happening. So the fact that people that I know from my hometown that were on this panel today that spoke about everything happening gave people an enlightening experience about what's going on in Flint, the things that they're putting into place, like the Flint Registry. They got that message out there because a lot of journalists here will be able to relay that information in order to let them know what's happening throughout the nation and how people can get involved and help.
Attorney Cynthia Lindsay believes that her legal team should be close to a settlement by October.
With the lawsuit, fixing Flint's water troubles could take another 3 to 4 years.
Noelle, the weather has been pretty nice.
It has, but let's check in with Imani Stevens to see what we can expect next. You guys, we can expect heat and humidity, but good news is it's a perfect weekend to go out and enjoy Detroit. Now we're looking right now at a live sky cam, and if you look on your far right, you can see the Conference Hotel. What a beautiful sight out there, but today was definitely hot, as will the rest of the weekend. Right now we're looking at 83 with a humidity of 60%, but that's not as bad as down south because that humidity is a lot thicker and you can definitely feel it a lot more, so be thankful for that. Now we're taking a look at our live radar. Up north of Port Huron, you can see those scattered thunderstorms, so beware of that, but down here in the city of Detroit, it's clear, so mostly clear and a great evening to enjoy the town. Now we're going to look at your forecast. Tonight we're going to have a high of 67, so be some fog, mostly clear. Perfect night if you're going out to the Kim concert. But tomorrow morning when you wake up, we're going to have a high of 88, mostly sunny and hot again, but great time to go outside and enjoy your last few days in Detroit. Now we're taking a last look at our weekend. 91 on Sunday, which is going to be extremely hot. And Monday, we're going to have a few scattered thunderstorms. Towards the end of the week, as you can see, we're going to hit the mid-80s. That's your weather. Back to you guys. Thanks, Imani. So, Chance, a local couple in East Detroit are making an impact in their community by turning vacant lots into bee farms.
Yeah, that's right. They call it Detroit Hives. Our Belinda Wesley tells us more about the way this couple turned a common cold into a sweet nonprofit.
My bee name is Captain Say the Drone, and her nickname is Queen Nefertiti.
It was a cold that Timothy Jackson just couldn't shake. Nothing seemed to work, not even over-the-counter medicine. But then he discovered raw honey.
I wanted to learn more about how bees made honey, and it led me into beekeeping and bringing a honeybee farm to Detroit.
Within the city limits of Detroit, there are over 90,000 vacant lots. When Detroit Land Bank allowed nonprofits to purchase side lots, Jackson's team took advantage by creating new homes for a lot of busy bees. In each of these boxes, it's up to 60,000 bees.
We use the recycled paper as a means to start, as a starter for the fire. The hardest part about the job is sometimes dealing with some of the diseases that they may face and encounter.
Timothy Jackson takes good care of these bees. He nurtures them as if they are his own family. The raw honey they produce is an asset to the community with little to no access to fresh and healthy foods.
A lot of residents have access to liquor stores, fast food places.
As you can see, not everybody's up for the job, but Jackson proved that nurturing these busy bees is the best way to avoid being stung. In East Detroit, Belinda Wesley, NABJ News.
Currently, Detroit Hive has 3 lots and many more on the way.
To purchase some of Detroit Hive's honey, go to DetroitHive.com.
NABJ conventions are a place to network, learn, build new friendships, and further your career. And sometimes you can even find love.
Sounds like a win-win to me. Longtime NABJ members Dr. Sheila Brooks and Rodney Brooks celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary on the third day of the 2018 NABJ Convention. They shared their tips to having a lasting relationship with a fellow journalist.
There were times when we both had very long hours. There were times when we were on different shifts. You have to be together for a while to realize how important patience is.
And never go to bed mad at each other, ever. You just don't do that. You get it all out before, communicate, talk about, because nothing is a bed of roses. It's not always going to be right all the time, but how you get it right and keep it right and keep the love flowing.
Not only did the couple meet at an NABJ convention, but they got engaged at one as well. NABJ is not the only place to find love. Detroit is home to many different gems.
Our Hadiah Weaver found a little isle full of love.
So originally, I came out to do a story on Belle Isle. What makes this island so magical? But you know what? I think I did find the magic right here.
I think that was the beginning of this love affair.
Leslie and Carol Bell, married for 24 years, started their love story here. They were just friends before coming to Belle Isle one night with their friends.
We came out here to Belle Isle, turned the car radio up really loud in the parking lot. We danced till we couldn't dance anymore. After that, we got married. That part is X-rated in history.
They, like many other visitors, love coming out here because there's an aquarium, a fountain, and places to ride bikes.
It's just where I can be with my husband peacefully and quietly.
Leslie and Carol can spend hours at this park, remembering the night they fell in love.
He kissed me and that was it.
The couple sits at the park, reading, talking, and sharing memories.
All day. We come out around 11 and we'll be here until 7 this evening.
They'll tell you love is in the air at Belle Isle. Anyone visiting Detroit should make this a destination.
They need to see how beautiful this is. This is the best spot in Detroit.
Leslie and Carol will be continuing their routine at the park for more years to come. I'm Hadiah Weaver with NABJ News. Back to you.
When award-winning journalist Les Payne died in March of this year, heartbreak poured out across the journalism community.
The co-founder and former NABJ president was a trailblazer who left an impact on generations of journalists.
Les Payne is many things to many people, but to me, he will always be my favorite superhero, a five-tool journalist, a great man, an art lover, a fine husband, a great father, and my best friend.
Dozens of friends, family, and colleagues filled a convention ballroom to honor the life and legacy of the late Les Payne.
Everywhere that Les was a newsroom. Everywhere that he stood and held court was a classroom.
Payne was the NABJ president from 1981 to 1983, a journalism career spanning over 4 decades. At his tribute, his wife Violet says the continued investment into future journalists is what her husband would have wanted.
And I think that this is what would be the best thing for Les's legacy, is that you will work smart and to continue to bring other people along.
As a nod to Les Payne's passion in his work, his son Jamal announced that his father's 30 years worth of an unfinished manuscript on the life of Malcolm X would be published in 2019.
We submitted my dad's manuscript, the one he's been talking about for 30 years. We submitted it to his publisher, and I can announce now that we expect it to be released in 2019.
Longtime friend Dwayne Wickham said the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist believed in passing knowledge onto the next generation.
He believed in them. He believed that the future of journalism did not rest in, and as he would say, the graybeards, the old guys who founded this organization. The future of journalism and the future of NABJ, he placed in the hands of the young people who have come behind us.
One day when they create the Les Payne Institute of Journalism, it's going to say, do your homework, do your research, and then write your off.
Les Payne won a Pulitzer Prize in 1974 for his work as the lead reporter on the heroin trails. A scholarship through NABJ has been named in his honor.
One of the most popular events during NABJ had convention goers lined up outside the door.
Filmmaker, director, and actor Tyler Perry participated in a master class on entrepreneurship and branding presentation. Tyler talked about starting your own business versus working for someone else. He even featured his most famed character, Medea. The Masterclass is one of the most attended events at NABJ.
One of NABJ's longtime members is sharing a story with us tonight about his career and humble starts.
CBS News correspondent DeMarco Morgan is where he is today because of NABJ and his mentors. Morgan sat down with reporter Sierra Johnson, who joins us live in the studio with his story.
DeMarco Morgan has had a challenging yet very rewarding journey to success. Let's take a look at what he had to say about his journey. DeMarco, you've had a very interesting journey getting to CBS. You started off not being able to read and write and graduated at the bottom of your class in high school. So what was the journey like getting to CBS?
Well, I could read and I could write. The only problem was I couldn't write essays, and my grammar was a little weak because I wasn't really applying myself. So I wasn't illiterate. I was just, busy like little boys were, chasing girls and all of that stuff, and wasn't really into my work. But I had an English teacher who told me that I was better off finding something to do with my hands. He wanted me to work on cars.
At a young age, DeMarco Morgan, an anchor at CBS News, struggled with writing. Though he is thriving in his career at one of the premier networks, he never forgets that NABJ is one of the secrets of his success.
I wouldn't be where I am had it not been for NABJ. NABJ as a student, NABJ my first job, NABJ as a young adult, NABJ now as a network correspondent. I would not be where I am.
DeMarco Morgan has one final piece of advice for striving journalists.
Do your homework for your interviews and hold people accountable. You gotta hold the powerful accountable. That's our job.
I think one thing we can all learn from DeMarco Morgan is to work hard and never give up. I'm Sierra Johnson. Back to you.
So earlier we told you that the NABJ Board of Directors decided to hold the election for the media-related representative in 2 weeks.
We have just learned that members at the annual business meeting overturned the board's decision and decided to leave the election in its current form.
The results are in, and NABJ President Sarah Glover says that the race ended in a tie, and there will be a runoff election.
Coming up, the museum where Motown all started.
And later, a vegan spot that puts a twist on how we eat soul food.
It could be the moment that you realized you should have taken a moment to check the weather before you left the house. Or the moment you realized living in 4 seasons is amazing.
So whatever your weather moment is, remember, wherever you are, check in with us so you're ready for whatever moment Mother Nature has in store for you. The moment is here at Local 4 and click on Detroit.
Motown, the sound of America. The original slogan still applies even before the not so young.
Among the 50,000 visitors who traveled from near and far to see for themselves where the hits were made.
It's Hitsville. It's Motown. It's Detroit.
It all started here in 1959. It looks like a modest home, but inside this converted garage, Berry Gordy's vision came to life.
Motown, it gave a platform and an avenue for people, especially people of color.
Talented people like Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson, and the boss, Berry Gordy.
People come from miles and miles away, even all over the country, Delaware, Chicago, but they come for one thing, to see exactly where their favorite artist once recorded.
When I first came through here, and the thought and the aura that's in this room.
Before museum general manager Sheila Spencer started working here, she was just like any other fan. You left the NABJ conference to come to the Motown Museum. Why is that?
Oh, it was exciting. You know, you're hearing all of the hits, all of the songs you've heard over the years, and just to know that you're in the place where all of this fantastic music was made.
And the hits kept coming, crossed oceans and cultures, even languages, bringing families like Paul Connaughton across the sea to the D.
It's very popular in the Netherlands, and we like the sound, we like the feeling in it.
And the fans have their favorites.
Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, The Temptations, you can go on and on and on.
Just like Motown, the sound and the feeling that started here live on.
This is music. This is what music is all about right here.
The Motown Museum is one of the hottest places in Detroit, and you'll have to stop by throughout the next few days of the conference.
Thanks, Imani. Joining us now for NABJ Sports is Jalen Anderson.
Hey, team.
The nickname The Bad Boys is a term of endearment for the 80s to 90s Pistons, but at the time, not all the bad boys enjoyed this nickname.
With it, the way the media was using the word thugs, they were, just the negativity around the way that the description of us.
During that time, the Detroit Pistons dominated the scoreboards and the hearts of fans. The hometown favorites worked extremely hard to represent the city of Detroit under the leadership of Isaiah Thomas.
That statue should be placed in front of the new arena here. It should be Isaiah Thomas.
NBA star and Detroit native Steve Smith is very familiar with his city and the reputation it has. Just like the misrepresentation of the bad boys, Smith says Detroit's image shouldn't be judged by popular misconception.
I think when you get a chance to experience something yourself, get a chance to talk to some native Detroiters and not just hear the narrative that a lot of people are saying.
A legendary sportscaster goes beyond the play-by-play during his appearance at NABJ. Convention goers had the chance to hear from CBS sportscaster James Brown. Brown opened up during the Sports Journalism in the Era of Celebrity panel, where he shared his personal journey. The panel focused on overcoming adversity in sports. Brown shared experiences as a black male in a predominantly white male profession. Here, he sees room for growth.
I still think that there's a tremendous amount of progress to be made behind the scenes in terms of decision influencers and decision makers. That's the next frontier.
Brown also talked about looking forward to the future of all black journalists.
Thanks, Jalen. Well, have you ever thought about taking that vegan route?
You know, I actually have. The only problem is that it's so hard to let go of the foods that we love. The meat, the dairy, the eggs.
Well, you don't have to cut out your favorite foods. Here's our reporter, Tony Benton Jr., tells us how a local Detroit restaurant is putting a major twist on vegan food.
Noel, trust me, I understand. It's hard for some to simply jump into this vegan lifestyle, especially when you've been eating soul food as far back as you can remember. Well, what if I told you that you can get the best of both worlds? It's it's soul food with a D-Town and vegan twist. Detroit Vegan Soul is reinventing the way that we eat and enjoy soul food. Kirsten Ursery, along with her co-owner, opened their first location back in 2013. I caught up with Kirsten to talk about her award-winning restaurant.
But we looked around the Detroit landscape and there wasn't really anything that was 100% plant-based, anywhere where we could go and eat and have a good meal.
The eatery was started through their desire to make good, healthy food accessible to everyone. They wanted to break the cycle of diet-related diseases in families and communities.
Where people, try the food for the first time and you can literally see the light bulb go off and they're like, okay, all right, I can do this.
Their journey started back in February 2012 with catering and meal delivery in the downtown Detroit area. The response was overwhelming.
We saw it, we believed in our vision and we believed in our plan and we knew that this would work.
I'm from the South. So when we think soul food, we think catfish, fried chicken. But here at Detroit Vegan Soul, this barbecue tofu sandwich could be a new alternative for those unhealthy options. Let's see how healthy really tastes. This isn't meat.
We recognize that a lot of people who want to make that transition, it's very difficult when they don't have foods that they can relate to.
people think about vegan food, they think about bland, just bland tofu or salad. And it can really be so much more, and we wanted to show people that.
Mission of providing great tasting vegan food that appeals to everyone. Kirsten and the Detroit Vegan Soul team will celebrate their 1-year anniversary of their new location later this month. This has been Tony Benton Jr., NABJ News.
That does it for us in the 2018 NABJ Student Projects.
For more stories from the NABJ conference, be sure to check out our website, nabjmonitor.com/2018.
But before we go, we'd like to say thank you to the people who made the 2018 Student Projects possible.
Thank you to our sponsors, the Knight Foundation, NABJ, our mentors, and the extremely professional and patient folks here at WDIV.
And we can't forget to thank our Student Project founders, Dr. Sheila Brooks. Without you, we wouldn't be able to get this once-in-a-lifetime experience. We are truly grateful.
See you in Miami for NABJ 2019!